Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? I hope you're all doing very, very well. Now I just want to say a great big congratulations, a big shout out, a jubilant shout out to our good friend from down under, Scrowy. Yes, you know him, you love him. Another baby boy, just been born. He's already got Gianluca, who's now the big brother, but his wife Joy has just given birth to another baby boy, little Emmanuel. Great names, aren't they? Her name is Joy. Joy to the world. You've got Gianluca, the firstborn, and now you've got Emmanuel. But Dad's name is Tony. No, brilliant. Everyone's doing well. Everyone's ecstatic. Your clan is growing. So, salute to you guys. Have fun, live long, prosper, be healthy and happy. Now, the Kickstarter campaign for Chris Young's Nosferatu score. We've only got 2 days left, folks. 2 days. Now, I was in at the start of this. I've been banging on about it for a while now. You've got 2 days left because it ends on the 4th of April. Now, it has to reach a certain amount to get this lavish double disc CD presentation put out there for the masses. I've told you all about the origins of this. The 1922 Max Schrecker's Count Graf Orlok, F.W. Murnau's masterpiece seminal vampire movie Nosferatu, a silent movie which has had numerous composers putting music to it over the decades, over the 100 years. And last year, Chris Young was approached to do his own version, which he did, and many consider it his magnum opus. Now, I've been privileged to have heard the entire score, and yeah, it's definitely up there. It's a masterpiece. You're hearing it now, or rather you're hearing the excerpts that the production team have put out onto YouTube. And there's a couple of extra tracks I'm going to play for you now. But yeah, I've been playing this music for a bit. You've heard it, you love it, I know you do. Now, there's 2 days left on the Kickstarter. But guess where we're at? We're at 89-90% of it. Now, the thing with Kickstarter campaigns is, as I've been told by people in the know, is that after initial sort of, onslaught, people, I'm going to pledge this, I'm pledging that, yes, I'm putting money into this. It then gathers steam and then sort of reaches a pinnacle and then plateaus for a bit, which indeed this did. There was a few little pushes, but then it sort of slid to a sluggish trail again. But now, in the last couple of days, it's ramped up again. So, finally, for the next couple of days, folks, if you want to get this music out there, you want to hear it in its entirety, its full orchestral, mighty symphonic, grandiose gothic eloquence, you've got to put some money into it. Now, why you put money into it? This is a big-time movie composer. How is it no one's going to do this? Well, Warner Classics are going to distribute the whole thing, but there's other complications because it was recorded for a live presentation over 2 nights in Zurich of Nosferatu last year, and it brought the house down. Everyone knew the film inside out, but the music was entirely new. And Chris Young was there to witness the spectacle and the splendour of his own music, really, really raising the rafters. And so it was recorded live. So you've got a bit of audience participation. Some bits don't sound quite as good as you'd want it to be. So to get the orchestra back to re-record it, that costs a fair bit of money. And then to get the production, the liner notes, the CDs themselves pressed, that's where the money is needed for. And because it's not composed for a modern film which is getting released and will have all the appropriate merchandise and publicity stuff to go alongside it, and the soundtrack album as usual, because it's an old vintage movie, you've got to go through this Kickstarter campaign. But it's clawing ever closer to that target. As I say, we're at 89-90% of it. 2 days to go. I have every hope and every confidence that we'll get this out. Of course, if you do pledge some money to it, whatever you can do, there's different tiers, and the different tiers are all named after characters in the movie. And you get various rewards for each amount that you put in, obviously. But the rewards are really, really fantastic. If you're into your film music and you're into classic horror movies and you can be a part of this, get your name inside the credits, in the little booklet, which could be a quite big booklet. You get your name in there and you'll be part of this entire project. Please do it. The music you've heard so far has been wonderful. The film is in 5 acts, and what the team has done so far, they've put an excerpt from Act 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And what they've done finally is actually put out a piece of music set to the actual appropriate scene in the movie, which is wonderful. And I'm going to play that for you. I'm not going to play the scene as well, but I'll describe the scene for you. But from what you've heard, and I've got a lot of feedback on this, everyone's blown away by it. You know, it wasn't just a fluke that, you know, all the audience in the Zurich presentation, you know, were blown away. That was no sheer, you know, off the cuff sort of like bit of euphoria. Everyone's loving this music, and I'm telling you, you've heard nothing yet. Now, each of the excerpts they put on from Acts 1 to 5 have shown a different aspect of the score, but you've heard the wonderful main themes. You've heard the brooding suspense, the dark melancholy, the ominous nature of it, and that trademark, insidious, seductive, sinister quality which Chris Young brings to so many of his horror projects and scores. Anyway, I have not yet set the music, the full score to the movie. So my first experience of seeing the visuals to the music was what they put out, which I think was just yesterday. And I'll play that in a minute, but first of all, I'll play you the excerpt from Act 5, which should be coming on any second now. Here we go. Oh, and by the way, to the Scrowies and to the new member of the clan, Emmanuel, cheers y'all. And to Chris Young and the entire production team, come on, we're almost there, almost there. So the full score lasts for the entire length of the movie, so 93 minutes. Now, of course, as I said before, for modern movies, well, talkies, composers, you can play music around people having dialogue. Obviously, it can be over the top of the dialogue, it can be behind the dialogue, it can be an undercurrent, but very often, dialogue, music. In a silent movie, the dialogue is intertitles. It's written down on the screen. You're not hearing them speak, so the music can play freely over all of that. And it's kind of great to watch, like this movie, with it's very grandiose, beautifully fonted and calligraphed, beautifully written, dialogue cards, the intertitles, and with hear the music playing over the top of that, it's quite special. Listen to this. This is way different from what you've heard in the previous excerpts. There's a harp there. Again, you've got this yearning sort of surge. There's doom and tragedy here, but there could be victory as well. But it's going to come at a cost. The movie, in many ways, is about sacrifice. Especially the climax of the movie, anyway. There's a playful quality to it, an almost euphoria, a blissful quality to the menace, the mischief, the malevolence. So you want this to be clearer. There's percussion there, there's woodwinds, there's xylophone. And the strings, of course. Cymbals. You want that to be clearer, sharper. See how it turned from slow burn, ominous tension build to a bit of playful, sinister quality, to this burgeoning sense of tragedy and doom. Right, now this is the piece set to an early sequence in Act 1, where we're introduced to Knock, who is actually the Renfield character, and he's just received a transcript, a note, a letter from Count Graf Orlok, who is actually Dracula, asking to, I want to relocate, I want to buy a place near you. And we find Knock knows Orlok and is in his thrall. He's Renfield. He'll end up in a mental nut job house, an asylum, just like Renfield does. But he knows he's ushering in death, the plague, and vampirism. But he's got to send someone out there. So he's Hutter's boss. Hutter is the Jonathan Harker character. Yes, because Nosferatu is the unofficial Dracula. Don't worry, I'm talking over it, but I'm going to play it again. So in a great moment of German expressionism, he's this is Knock, sitting in the office on a big high chair, big lectern and all that. And this manuscript, this letter arrives, which he rolls out, all parchment paper, from Orlok, Max Schreck. And there's all occult symbols and sigils that are on it. Now, F.W. Murnau, Frederick Wilhelm Murnau, the director and producer and creator of it, and Albert Grau is co-producer and co-creator. But it pains to make these sigils and emblems and effigies as accurate to occult symbolism as possible. So they are genuine occult symbols. And he reads all this and he's getting excited. He's got these big bushy mad Dr. Mabuse eyebrows on him and a baldy head, but a weird manic look about him. So he calls his young protege over, Hutter, the Jonathan Harker character. I got a job for you, you're going to go out, you're going to find a place for this guy because he's coming here, and he looks out the window as well, and he sees it's like a place like that, a beautiful old lonely building like that, and he points to this really dilapidated, huge, almost like a medieval tenement block, and he says, "Yeah, that one there, which is right opposite where you live, isn't it?" With his wife Ellen, who is the Mina Harker of the story, who Nosferatu is going to, make some moves on. And so Hutter's like, "Okay, yeah. Now this is a big job. This is a big opportunity for you. You'll make a lot of money from this, as long as you put in a little bit of sweat and maybe a little bit of blood." But it's, yeah, I'm going to do it. This is the main theme again. This is a wonderful, almost waltz-like, churning, relentless, driving wail through the hellish world that is the land of Nosferatu. But let's play that slow undercurrent again of giving the job to Hutter, reading the parchment. Now, I'll put the link to this, and you can see how this plays against the visuals, and it's brilliant. It works perfectly. I mean, I've had people say to me who've heard the bits that have been put out there, so, well, I've seen Nosferatu. How does that music actually fit in with it? When you watch this sequence, you'll see just how well the music fits to the on-screen imagery, and gives you that third dimension. You sit and watch a movie, the performances could be electrifying, the set design, the story, everything about it is working, but there still might be something missing. And what the music does is the music feeds the emotions, it feeds into your soul, it puts you in the movie. You can forget about the whole 3D process. Music does that. Music talks to us, it gets inside us. not most, but a lot of composers have said, well, if you don't hear my music, then I've done my job correctly, because you're still getting the sensation and the emotion which my music has helped convey for the characters. I don't agree with that. I've never agreed with that. I go to movies and I listen to the music. Sometimes the music doesn't work. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Mostly it does, but I listen out for it. I don't want to be just, I didn't even notice it. And I hate it when I come away from a movie, go on the flicks to see a premiere, come out with a bunch of people and go like, wasn't that score great? And they go, oh, I didn't hear it. Oh, you mean the songs? And I go, no, there was no songs in it. The cues, the tracks, the musical score. Oh, I didn't hear it. Well, some composers would love that reaction then. I like the film, but I didn't hear the music. I'm like, oh, tearing my hair out. Are you kidding me? And I dragged them back to the Kilt Mansion and I put the soundtrack on. Go, listen to it now then. Now do you hear it? There's a sense of real ominous portent. Knock knows what he's letting loose. He's going to send this innocent out there to bring in basically the devil, Pestilence and foul death and decay is coming with him. So it's got this, Chris Young does this, it's an undercurrent, but it's reaching little moments, because we can see the look in Knock's eyes underneath them bushy brows. And there's a kind of wariness to Hutton at first. Well, this is a big job. Did you mention blood there? Let's read the title again. So, folks, it's all to play for. Let's get this score out there so that everyone has the chance to hear this. You don't have to be, a massive devotee of classic horror, although I'm pretty certain most of us are. You understand the placement, the milestone that Nosferatu was, still is. Its legacy, its influence across an entire genre, when the genre was only just being born. It was being birthed with this movie, practically. And the whole German expressionism movement as well in cinema was outstanding. It's so great to be swept along by such a theme, and this theme will interweave throughout the score. You will hear elements which you know from Chris Young's oeuvre. There's elements of Drag Me to Hell, there's Hellraiser, there's elements of The Core as well, which I adore. The Core! And others as well. So many. His signature Youngisms are rife and welcome. But as he freely admits, this was a project, an undertaking which may have been the biggest of his career, because he felt the weight of expectation and the history behind this movie. You don't call Nosferatu a movie. I stand corrected. It's a film. It's a film. Oh, it's just so full. It's pushing, rolling. It's like the surf, but it's getting nearer. It's like driving the Demeter across the seas. Which of course are great scenes in this movie as well. And you want to hear the stuff for that. Cheers, everybody. So a full re-recording of this. Totally cleaned up, very sharp, very clear. All the elements of the orchestra all hitting their spots and brought out into the mix. Oh, it's going to be spectacular. Not that it could be spectacular, it's going to be spectacular. I've got to get this out there. I've got to get it out there, definitely. I was saying before, maybe a fan of, you know, vintage classic horror movies, or just the genre in general, or you may be a fan of classical music or film music. This is such a golden opportunity to get something really spectacular, lavish, and with heart and soul in it. And that's what Chris Young brings to his scores, heart and soul. Some of the films might not be that magisterial, but even the likes of Hellraiser, you know, grotesque visuals, really dark, depraved acts, and a crazy, chaotic domestic drama from the bowels of the earth, sort of grand gothic, modern day, hellish setting. But his music gave character and heart to this romance, this depraved romance from beyond the grave, and also gave a beautiful sort of ethereal quality and regal empowerment to the Cenobites. Anyone else could have scored that entirely differently. See, you want those cymbals to really crash out and lend some scintillation. There is also on YouTube an interview with Christopher Young. An interview with Christopher Young. Yes, I almost had an interview with Christopher Young. We'll get there. We will get there. And hopefully what it'll be a celebratory interview. Yes, we did it. We got there. See, I love this percussive element. There's chimes there, there's woodblock there. And in the full score, you'll get the organ as well, which adds a real ominous, sepulchral quality. It's not a film full of action and kills. It's not like that. The film is very dreamy, quite slow. Ironic considering that they sped up the motion of Nosferatu carrying his coffins, you know, to his new abode, scurrying through the streets, you know, at hyper speed. But the music adds so much more propulsion and depth to the movie. I long for the day when I can play the full score and we can discuss it, or even do a commentary track for Nosferatu, but with the score playing. Now imagine that we get another release, another release of Nosferatu, a UHD release of Nosferatu, with an option of playing Chris Young's score alongside it. It is not beyond the realms. You could get this. So 93 minutes of music. So that is wall to wall music for the entire movie length. No pauses, no gaps. There might be quieter lulls. There are, but they quickly build up. And of course the score won an award as well, a special award from the, why do I always forget this, International Film Music Critics Association, during the same ceremony where Chris Young won multiple awards for his score for the film The Piper, which is coming out. Yes! For a while we didn't think that was going to come out either, but we're getting the full score to The Piper as well. But that is officially coming out. So expect the board with awards for that. but also got a special award for his score for Nosferatu. So it's already an award winner. So, you know, just the stats tell you that, you know, how great this score is and the audience reactions to it. You don't even need me banging on about it. But I can't help myself. And it was his good friend Frank Strobel who was conducting the orchestra. It wasn't Chris himself during the presentation of the movie over the 2 consecutive nights. What an event that would have been. You know? But it's not something you can take on tour, I don't think. And as I've said before, for a lot of for all silent movies, they weren't silent because when they had a theatrical release, you'd have like someone on the piano or bongos or whatever, the big bass drum. You'd have someone sitting in front of the audience and between the audience and the screen playing some kind of music. Otherwise, you'd all be sitting there farting, belching, scratching your head, itching your arse, shuffling about, eating your boiled sweets or whatever they had in the 1920s. I'm sure they had boiled sweets then. So you had music to accompany it. So they understood even then the power that music would give a movie, a story told visually, how the extra dimension will be provided by playing music to bring the emotions out to you and bring you into the story. No accident, you know. But in certain presentations of movies, you'd have a string quartet maybe, or even in some cases, a rather, you know, impressive orchestra will be playing there to bring it obviously for premieres and things like that. That's a great swelling descent in it. You're going down the plug hole there. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'll leave you to guess what that is going to accompany. That crescendo there. This is from the trailer. Let's go on to Act 3. See, I know you want me to play stuff that hasn't been released. No, I'm not doing that. I'd love to, but that's not going to happen. Not until it's official. So again, you've got another. Listen to this. Although it's kind of like there seems to be no jeopardy or threat there, but it is definitely edgy. It's sort of feathering its way through the atmosphere. There's an element there, a little bit there from Hellraiser. See, Chris was a guy that made the resurrection, you know, of Frank in Hellraiser a musical waltz of beauty. It was ravishingly gorgeous. The visuals were anything but. It was all icky stuff. A lot of it filmed in reverse, with blowtorches melting the skin off the armature of a skeleton. But played backwards, it was flesh coming back onto the bones. But it was a rhapsodic, almost orgiastic quality to the music. And he's done that again. He did it when the Sandman was reborn in the Spider-Man for Sam Raimi. And my God, that sequence again, it turned what was a really bizarre set of visuals into something melodically beautiful and really intrinsically emotional. So here, you know, people are going like, all that bombast, how does that work with the movie itself? Well, it's going to work brilliantly, because listen to this. These are the creeping, tremulous moments, revelations, discoveries, heartfelt confessions. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Chris Young does wonderful sort of fade outs as well. So many other scores. A great sort of suite of music. Runs the gamut of emotions. Like start off quietly, rise to something, and then plateau again, then rise again, and then gradually just fade out. But you still hear it in the distance. The melody's there. Fabulous stuff, it really is. Oh, go on, what the hell? Let's hear some more. This is from Act 5. I've mentioned several times now that I'm going to do like a big celebration of his score for Drag Me to Hell, which I think is absolutely incredible. I love Raimi's movie, and obviously he'd worked with Raimi before, on not just Spider-Man, but his score for Drag Me to Hell, it's infernal fiddle playing. I mean, the devil may have gone down to Georgia, but when he met Chris Young, oh my God, that fiddle duel, and because Drag Me to Hell is it's Eastern European gypsies in LA, you know. Well, they had them for Hollywood in Universal's The Wolfman, and a lot of the old Frankenstein movies as well. The gypsies were all there, so the fiddle playing comes in with all of this, and it has this twisted, dark, macabre sort of jollity to it. It's fun. It's a fun score. It's a fun movie, but it has very, very dark, serious, violent moments in it, and he captures all that. So I'm going to do, I keep saying it, but I'm definitely going to do it. Ba, 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 ba. It's clever as well, because what I think Chris has done, when you watch the movie, imagine watching the movie the first time, Nosferatu. You don't know where it's going. You've got no idea where it's going. The visuals are telling you one thing, but you've got no sense of how this is going to pan out. But it's like Chris knows how the film is going to pan out, but it's almost like he's looked at it with fresh eyes. How am I going to build this up for an audience? How am I going to let them in on, like, that guy is seriously not well? And you don't want to be anywhere near him, you know. You don't even want to invite him into your town and give him a house there, opposite your missus. You don't want to do that. So he's letting you know. He's tipping you off. He's giving the film an extra layer of dimension and dread. And another, you know, element of storytelling, the musical storytelling. That's almost laughter there, isn't it? Organs in there. Not coming through as clearly. That's why you want this to be re-recorded and remixed, you know. Folks, look, 2 days left, 2 days. Please pledge your allegiance, give a donation, you know. Hasn't got to be blood, preferably not. That won't help things at all. And let's get this score out there to the masses. We need this. It's wonderful. there's so much great movie music out there now, but there's so much which is purely generic and bland and boring. You might like those repetitive themes. Oh, that's from so and 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 so. It's going back for the last 2 decades. But I still like it. I'm like that as well. But this is something entirely new, fresh, but for something old, archaic and vintage, but slapped together. Again, like Hellraiser, putting flesh on the bones, the old dead bones. This is what Chris Young has done. He's put flesh on a much loved but very decayed and desiccated old fossil, and he's brought it back to life. He's invigorated it with more life and vigour, and spit and venom, and sweat and blood, as Nock does say to young Hutter. Work hard, make a lot of money out of this, prepared to like give a bit of sweat, a little bit of blood, and then big bushy eyebrows. Never trust a man whose eyebrows meet in the middle, and don't trust anyone who's got great big fuzzy caterpillars above their eyes. There's something wrong there. See, I'm alright because being this hair colour, I have very fair eyebrows. People sometimes say like, you haven't got any eyebrows. I have, they're there. And it's probably lucky that you're not that apparent, because they kind of go up. They kind of go up like this. They kind of curl up in like a diabolical sort of, look at this. Can you see that? So, yeah, you can see them. And that's what they do naturally. I have to trim them down because they do go wispy up like that in a kind of devilish sort of thing. Maybe I should cultivate that. I always wanted eyebrows that met in the middle to be people think he's Loop Guru, he's lycanthropic. But I'm a hairy, howling swine anyway, so I've kind of made that fairly obvious. See, isn't it? These gentler moments have a quality which is quite unique. You haven't heard a great deal, I know. You've heard barely 26 minutes of music out of a film, out of a score that's 93 minutes long. So you just imagine what else is in there. And I can tell you, you've heard nothing yet. Folks, Chris and the team, we're almost there. We're almost there. So please, get involved while you still can, and let's make this genuinely happen. Right, in the meantime, in this ever shunning the sunlight, sepulchral in-between time, please keep it kilted, keep it chaotic, and I'm going to see you all with hopefully fantastic news about this. Knock knock.